Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel, and I am coming to you today with kind of a new look. I'm finding more and more gray hair in my face and my hair, so I decided to don the new look of what that would look like, and I'm gonna kind of put it out there because I kind of like it. Anyway, nor here nor there. So basically, the reason I decided to post this particular video is because I've been going through my own process again relating to the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in my birth sign, and it being so close to my birthday, basically the same day, that I have had a lot of enlightenment, if you will. And so I'm going to record this in two parts. One's going to be specifically towards the general everybody, and then one will be geared towards the ascenders and people who are in the collective consciousness who are awakening. So the first one is going to be this. So I basically want to address kind of this thing about anger. So I find that a lot of people, whether they are leadership, just general leaders around the world, or people with immense amount of pressures to kind of accomplish quite a bit in a short amount of time, or whether it's spiritual leaders, that they tend to want to suppress the emotion of anger. And I find that to be very disingenuous to the process. You see, I have found, personally speaking, that anger is a great energy fulfiller in that it propels action. It's beyond just feeling something or dealing with a woe or a problem or dealing with the emotions of being let down. And it takes that and it propels it into an actual actionable force outwardly. And it affects change because it signifies to whatever you're dealing with, to the cosmos or to yourself or to the person you're dealing with, that enough's enough. And when you get angry enough, you have to understand that if you're worried about a spiritual ramification, why? Because the balance is what we're trying to accomplish in spirituality. It's striking the balance of both good and bad. And so when you have a lot of things coming at you that are geared towards making you feel more fulfilled or making your dreams come true, but that have negative, real bad consequences to how you are as a person or the growth experience that you're encountering, then you need to release that energy once and for all. And if you don't, and if you sit in that headspace, or if you let it meander in your head, then you are actually lowering the frequency for the cosmic collective, because you are essentially sitting on yourself and denying yourself the ability to be free. I recently, with all of this energy coming at me, I have had to encounter quite a bit of past trauma or karmic debt, if you will, that has come smacked into my face. And a lot of people that I love have gone through their own changes and things that are negatively happening to them. And I threw a temper tantrum, and I threw a massive temper tantrum that released tons of energy into the cosmos. And I shut down for about a day. Well, not a day, but like 6 hours, basically, and I took a nap. And I woke up invigorated, and all of my worry about, because I left it to myself, no one was around me, I'm responsible in that way, but I woke up understanding that it had to happen, because I woke up without that fear anymore, and without the anger anywhere in my body. And the things that I had encountered, which I'll discuss more in the other video for those of the collective, dealt with karmic debt and with a lot of stuff that I feel like were unjust that I've encountered. And when you take ownership of things like that, there comes a point when clarity reveals that you may not have been responsible the way that you thought you were for everything. And that is a big woe to kind of like get through. So as leaders around the world, you're tasked with the responsibility of something. You are here on a mission to do something on this planet. And as a leader, you learn that you tend to keep to yourself any bouts of anger, but that doesn't mean you squash it. You actually embody it. And if you don't release that tension, you actually make everyone else's space adjust to your energy, and you're not fooling anyone. And so it becomes detrimental to your cause or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So my recommendation, as someone who walks the walk and lives the life of what I believe, let it go. You have to sometimes let the atomic bomb release itself into the air and understand that the ramifications are actually good. When you have a world that's trying to balance out its woes and its problems, then there's a lot of good that starts to come flowing from you and about you and around you. And sometimes, without knowing it, that release balances all of the good energy and neutralizes all of it so that you can keep moving forward without any fear of problems to come. It's not that we necessarily are afraid of being happy, but we're afraid to accept gifts from the outer world. It's that everything is in balance. We are born in male female bodies. Everything has a yin and a yang. Every two dimensions is based on opposing reactions. And the cosmos is built in that way. The Big Bang came from nothing. What was that nothing? What was nothing that created the Bang? And like thought, which is still my belief system, that's what the Big Bang Theory was a conscious thought that went, oh, bang. But that's my personal belief. My point is that sometimes owning your anger and releasing it into the cosmos is the only option you have, and it's the best for everyone concerned. So don't ever squash yourself in this belief that you have to stay silent or you have to endure it privately. You can't. And anger also, for children especially, is a great way to release a cry for help, that they need assistance in some way. And the same principle applies to all humans. If you're spiritual, then you're asking for guidance. You're asking for the divine intervention. It's not going to, you wouldn't be gifted with the ability to manifest these things in your spiritual life if you were not capable of taking responsibility for the ramifications of it. And though your brain may go to the worst possible places in that anger moment of hatred and of being let down and of the world coming to an end because it's not fair, it's truth. What if your charge in this world as a leader is to stand behind the voices of people who cannot speak for themselves, and you are releasing that energy, that karmic debt, if you will, to the universe to stand there and say, this part of the process is unacceptable. This is blah, 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 blah. Leadership is about owning all aspects of the journey. And we may not know the answers to all things at all times, but you do know that it's up to you to represent those who cannot represent themselves. My platform on Altruistic Channel has always been to ensure that every voice on this planet is heard. And in order to do that, that means that we sometimes have to go to that anger place because we represent those constituents, if you will, or those members of our society that don't have that opportunity. I represent a huge, vast people of spectrum, on the spectrum of learning, that are autistic, that run from the gamut of brilliant to not able to communicate whatsoever. And in that in between is where we exist as human beings. It's that vessel that we're trying to get heard. And so I use that platform because they are in desperate need of us representing them in how we are going to tell their story and what affects them in their life. I don't know if you've looked at the numbers, but the numbers are quite startling. It's 1 in 59 children are born with autism. That's 1% of the world population already. It affects more boys than girls. And it affects 26% of adults with autism with severe depression, the type that we as intellectuals should understand. It has a very significant connection to the gifted and talented, who also have 26% of them who suffer with suicidal tendencies and tend to have a higher risk of suicide because of the fact that they, from an early age, have been dealing with a suppression of knowing that life may not have meaning. And they are the only ones in their peer group to come to that realization so young. So they deal with ostracized situations, and they turn their backs, like I did, on who they are, and all of these things play out in their life. When you stand firm for your voice, and you stand firm in anger and happiness and gratitude and anything that you are feeling in that moment, when you own your space and you command the attention of someone else's space, then you represent both spaces. And you release anything that's built in hostility or anything that you have to endure at that moment, because you can't move forward and you can't get rid of that energy without letting it go. So as a leader in the world, my recommendation from Altruistic Channel and the platform that I intend and the vision that I have is that you own your space. And if you're a leader, then you lead. You let go and you take it up with whoever you need to take it up with, but you don't let things happen, because that's where injustice comes in. And the longer you let that energy permeate your inner being, the more physical ramifications come of it. You become intestinally, you have problems, you can suffer heart attacks, all of this stuff, because it's a penalty for not having released the anger. So the next time you get angry, check yourself. Make sure that you're not doing it in a way that's destructive. But if you have to let it out, find a quiet space and you let the atomic bomb detonate. And making sure that no one else is in your space, because that's a responsible thing. But you cannot lead into battle without understanding the penalties of battle itself. And so the fact that you're even in that situation should anger you. And the fact that we still have people that are not able to communicate should anger you. It should propel you forward. So use anger as a propeller forward into your destiny. And that's all I wanted to say on that topic. But understand that everything has value: love, lust, financial, like the desires to be financially free. Just make sure that you're leaving the ego at the door, because nothing happens from the ego other than limits. When you think from your ego, you don't let yourself experience life's blessings or the problems. And if you don't do either one, you're limiting your ability to enjoy this path. So as a leader in the world, that's my sentiment at this point. Enjoy the anger when it's going to release the toxins that will set you free. Because you can't lead a population into anything without first having to walk the walk. And that's it. The next tape is going to be for my collective consciousness cohorts. But that's it for me from Altruistic Channel. As I keep working and plugging away at my mission that I've signed up for. I am just stopping by to say hello. So I hope you guys are having a blessed and wonderful day and enjoying this wonderful new karmic cycle and all of the blessings that are coming. So have a great day. And that's for Al from Altruistic Channel. And as always, have you made a mistake today?